Hey guys, welcome back to some Crypto Broke, where we're just not broke, we are crypto broke. Got some crazy markets going on right now. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna hop into KuCoin, and I'm gonna show you that is right guys, the two most important things when you enter into trading. Make sure guys, you watch this and you really pay attention. As we get into KuCoin, we're gonna take a look at this and I'm gonna show you exactly what is the most important. So here we are, this is KuCoin. Looking at Ethereum USDT pair. So this is the pair, as you can see from Ethereum, even going back on the 4-hour chart, we have seen, boom, it was at an all-time high right here, 43.68. And then it just kind of went all downhill from there, guys. So we've seen a big reduction here in Ethereum. Ultimately, two things that you really want to make sure, and a lot of people don't do this very often. So essentially, when we're looking at the coin, even on a 4-hour chart, coming back here, so everything's going good, everything's hunky-dory. You riding it up, there you go, it holds a little bit there, ride it up a little bit more. We've seen a little dip here, riding it up a little bit more. What most people do not do at this point is stop orders. So putting in your stop loss, guys, regardless if you're trading, if you're holding, ultimately for all of those out there that did not put in the stop loss, and now you're to a point you've seen massive losses. Ultimately, these stop losses would have saved you so many times over and over again. I was looking at the Heikinashi, which is what I use. So going to the candles, guys. So essentially, even looking back here, where the top was in the market, 43, is if you were putting in the stop losses, essentially looking back and charting the coin to see where you had support and where you had resistance, making sure that you have the stop loss in. And I'm not saying coming in here every 15, 20 minutes, dropping in your stop loss, moving your stop loss, adjusting your stop loss. No, I'm talking about major differences when you see declines. For instance, just looking, and we'll look at this period of time right here. We'll spread out the chart quite a bit. So essentially, you're watching the coin go down. You're watching the coin go down. A lot of people at some point would have had a stop loss, probably much lower than this. You don't want it so close that if this long bottom wick right here happens, that you get stopped out of a trade. So you actually want to look back probably 2 or 3 support lines to see exactly where the stop loss is. Essentially, though, when it goes up, you want to adjust those support stop lines. So if we had a stop line, let's say right here for support, let's say even looking back here, it looks like we had a lot of support right along this stop line. We had support, as you can see, it bounced right off support here, just about the same line as what we see here. Ultimately, you're not going to be in for such a mega high roller coaster like what you've seen. So essentially, if I had a stop loss here, even if I had a stop loss a little bit tighter, maybe right around in this area, ultimately you wouldn't have seen the decline. So if you're holding on to Ethereum, you keep riding it up, you're at 40,000 plus, then you see it start coming down, comes down to 42, comes down to 40, comes to 37, comes down the hill, all the way down here. By the time you even get down to essentially this area, so right here, we're at about 32, which is almost $1,000 off where we were at. You would have got stopped at 32. Now right there, yes, you would have lost 1,000. Your Ethereum was at 43. Now your Ethereum's at 33. Ultimately, you lost $1,000 for every Ethereum token that you lost, but we're stopped at 33. So not only did you only lose this 1,000, and this is kind of the way that you have to think about it, guys, with the stop loss, again, being the first most important thing, is you lost 1,000. Okay, you didn't lose right now at 2,000, so you didn't lose 1,300 additional. That is right, guys. Anytime the market's down, anytime it does fluctuate, going from here to here, losing your 1,000, okay, you lost 1,000, definitely taking a hit. You did not lose 2,300 riding it down to where it was, guys. Once the coin goes down a certain percentage, whether it's based on where you see support, where you see resistance, ultimately, guys, number one, biggest priority, biggest mistake, and I have made this mistake as well, putting in your stop loss. So essentially though, once you have your stop loss in here, okay, you lost 1,000, you saved out on this 1,300. Well, there's going to be a point where this might be the point of around $1,900 Ethereum that you start purchasing again. Now, not only did you save out on the 1,300 between this where you got stopped out and where it dropped to, but now you have an opportunity to make a majority of the funds back, again, utilizing stop losses in every single trade. Second most important thing, and we're going to use Bitcoin for an example of this, is you have to put in exactly, come into trading, come into cryptocurrency with a plan. You have a plan to get in, you have a plan to get out, you have a plan to take profits. You have different things marked on what you want to do. So we can actually swap over here and we're going to look at USDT and we're going to look at BTC pairs. So we are going to look at Bitcoin over on Coinbase. So ultimately, this is what Bitcoin looks at on Coinbase. It looks a little different than KuCoin, but ultimately you can map out the coins on here very, very easy. We can see our MA, our 50, 80, 100, our 200, and then our 21, as well as our volume down here. So Bitcoin is a coin that does have a ton of value. Looking at our indicators in the bottom, the MACD, the RSI, and the Stoic RSI, you can see Bitcoin at 38 RSI is very oversold. Meaning, what is our plan? You can see here on the 1 hour, we have the last 3 hours, 4 hours. Bitcoin has been positive, which is good. So the current price right now is 33,000 a coin. So what is the plan? That is really what you have to say. So if you're looking into getting into Bitcoin, what is the plan? One, where are you putting the stop loss? That is the first thing that you have to come up with. That is the first thing that you have to look. So looking back at Bitcoin, even looking at a big picture of Bitcoin, Bitcoin hasn't been this low in a significant amount of time, down to 33. So essentially, even looking, if you want to run really, really close stop losses, we can in here. So looking here, it's had a little bit up. We don't want a really, really big downside. So we can actually use this little long position right here, or you can do short position forecast, a bunch of different things that you can do to where you can kind of forecast what you want to do, where you think it's going to do, where you think it's going to be. And ultimately, there are a ton of options here when it comes to using Coinbase. So ultimately, we're going to go ahead and in here, we're going to look at a long position. So we think Bitcoin's going to go long. It gives us our targets, our upper targets, our lower targets, the percentages that you're looking to lose. So you know what? We're going to keep this percentage right around, let's say, 3%. So we want to keep this just around 3%. Gains, let's say we want to go for a 10% gain on Bitcoin. So we can actually park this right up here, exactly where we want it to be. And it shows you what the targets are, exactly what it's going to be for the 10%, what it's going to look like at the coin hitting this mark, as you can see on the right side. So for us to gain 10% on this trade, Bitcoin is going to have to hit $35,161. Right now, Bitcoin's at 31,933. To lose our 3%, which is a very, very tight stop loss, Bitcoin would have to drop to 30,963. So again, we're coming into this with a plan, guys. We're expected to make 10% on this trade if Bitcoin continues to increase. If Bitcoin dumps, we're going to lose 3% on this trade. So the thought between the two is really making sure that you're having more positive trades on targets than having trades where you're getting stopped out. So a lot of detail goes into this, but essentially you can see over, X amount period of time, where are we going to get our 10%? So at 10%, what are we going to do? What is the plan at 10%? Are we going to sell 25% of our Bitcoin? Are we going to sell 50% of our Bitcoin? What are we going to do when it comes to our targets here with Bitcoin? Ultimately, if we get our 10% return, so if Bitcoin shoots up to 35K, are we going to go ahead and take our 10%, take it out, and be done with the trade at that point? Well, that is entirely up to you. One thing that you want to do is, again, one, stop losses. People, and I know a ton of people got burned with not having stop losses in here. So making sure that you have your stop losses. Again, number 2, coming in with a plan, making sure that you know exactly, I'm going to make X amount of dollars on this trade. I want to make 10% on Bitcoin. We're going to go ahead and let this trade run until I have 10%. Either I'm going to sell out at 10%, 25, or if I'm going to at 10%, you have to decide, are you going to do 25% out? Are you going to do 50% out? So you can even make notes on here, which I absolutely love to do. So up here, we can say, okay, well at, what is it? So at 35,161, we're going to take 25% profits. Okay, so if I put in 10,000 at 35,161, we are going to take $2,500 out of there, 25% of the gain. So I know exactly what we're doing on this gain. We can even run this up, let's say at 15%. So we can go back here. Oh, wrong indicator. But looking here, okay, so let's go ahead, we'll delete this one. All right, so here, again, we'll go with the correct indicator. So we got 35, we're taking 21%. All right, so at 36,733, we're gonna sell 50%. Let's say we even leave the next 25% of our trade in here. So again, essentially, this is what it's going to look like. So we have, this is our plan. So this is exactly what we're looking to do. So we put in, let's say, again, $1,000 to really make this trade work. So with our $1,000 we put in, when it hits 35,126, we're going to take out $2,500 or 25% of what we have in here, which is going to be more than 25 because the price has increased. So, but at 25%, we are going to go, or at our 10% target, we are going to sell 25% of our position in Bitcoin. When it hits 36,733, 15% gain on where we're at right now. You're going to sell another 50%, possibly leaving in the remaining 25% of Bitcoin in there to go ahead and just let the market run up and essentially just go up from there. One thing you do want to make sure is when you're looking at your targets, this little bottom kind of break even line. So if we're going to get our correct targets, we're going to put it right there. So it does put the numbers a little bit higher. So we're at 33 right there. We want to put what it's trading for, which is 33.02. We'll actually drop this right on 33.02, just about the same. All right, so there's our targets, guys. So at 15%, we're at 35.06. So again, a little bit lower just because of where this baseline is set at. You really have to make sure where you're setting this baseline at when you build a trade, and actually go to this last little one would be the most accurate. So there we go. So from where we're at right now, so we're entering this trade, our stop's going to be at 32, which means we got about $1,000. Our 15% or 14.55% gain is going to be at 37,781. So that's going to be our 15 gain. And then we can also lower this down again to our 10, which is going to be at 33,303 for our 10% gain. At that point, when we hit our top marker, which is 36,292, we're going to be 75% sold on the Bitcoin that we were holding, taking that 75%, putting it into our next trade, ultimately making it profitable in that way, and just going through. So if you're looking to make 10%, 15% on every single trade, you'll do a lot more trades, but ultimately, if it goes down, you're losing your 3%. If it goes up significantly, you're making 10%, 15%, or you're entirely out of the trade. And again, you can change these to whatever you really think you want them to be, or exactly what you're looking for, essentially. Because if the choice here, even looking at, if you want 50% out on 35, 50% out on 36, you could be 100% sold out of Bitcoin at that point, guys. So again, the two most important things, guys. Number one, make sure that you do your stop loss. Every single trade, do your stop loss when you buy into the trade. Buy into the trade, do your stop loss. Buy into another trade, do the stop loss. Buy into the trade, do the stop loss. Number two, get your targets. 1 target, 2 target, 3 targets, depending on how much you want. You want to know exactly what I want to make from the trade. Me personally, it's 10% on a trade, 15%. Usually at 15%, I drop 50% of my holdings, keeping a little 25% out there. But then again, also with the stop losses, once you hit that 10% mark, once you hit that 15% mark, you can even bump up your stop loss to cover essentially what you put into the trade. That can be very, very advisable as well. But guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think below. That is how I've been doing trading. So far, we've been doing very, very well. Short of Bitcoin absolutely dumping right now, but still with the oversold bounces making back some of the losses that we've suffered. So again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.